literally moms. You can do whatever you want. Like you can do it all. You can't do it all by yourself, but you could do it all. Like whatever you want to do, you could do it.
Are you a mom and thinking about creating your own business, but need help figuring out if you can do it and how? I interviewed Katy Care, who is a serial entrepreneur, and she's here to tell you how to start your own business and why you'll love it. Hi, I'm Lisa Shader, financial coach and creator of Money Fit Moms, where women learn how to save and invest so they can worry less, live more, and make the world a better place. If you want great financial tips and inspiration from moms who are balancing motherhood with meaningful work, please subscribe and hit the bell to get notifications of new videos. Welcome to another episode of Moms Making It Work. I'm here with Katy Care, who is a serial entrepreneur. She's started several businesses, and I'm so excited to talk about everything that she has created and what she loves about it, because today we're going to be talking about how to start your own business and why you'll love it. And this is a topic that I've had people message me about. And so I think this speaks to a lot of people. I think the people who will love this are the people who've kind of thought about it, but just kind of get shut down or scared because they think, oh, that's not me. I can't do that. And from knowing Katy and her experience, she is the perfect person to talk you into that. So welcome, Katy. I'm so excited to have you here. So can you introduce yourself, talk a little bit about your story, who you are, what you've done with businesses?
Okay.
Because I'm just a super fan, but not everyone knows you yet. So I want them to know why I'm a fan.
Sure. Thank you, Lisa, for having me. I'm super excited to be here. So again, my name is Katy Care, and I'm a mom of 3. I have 2 girls and a boy. One is almost, oh my God, my little boyfriend is almost 2 years old.
Oh my goodness.
And I got 2 girls, 4 and 6-year-old. And I've pretty much been self-employed since I was 22. That was a long time ago. So,
you look very young, so it doesn't seem that long ago, but you do have 3 kids. They must have come in there somewhere.
yeah, it's okay. I'll say it. Like, so I just turned 36.
Oh, wow.
But I did start my first business with he was my boyfriend at the time, but now he's my husband. But I started with him 2007. We had a retail shop. It's so random, but we sold printer cartridges.
Awesome.
We fell into it.
Yeah. So how did you get into that? You know, I mean, did you go looking for a business to buy, or did you just create it? Like, how did that happen?
Oh, so this business, I was an intern there at school when I was in college. And then I interned there in a marketing position. I met my husband, then colleague there. And he was just pissed off at his boss. And he was like, I don't want to work for him anymore. I'm going to go start a business. I was like, good luck with that. Cause I was like 20. I mean, like, I'm like, okay. So anyways, he actually like secretly met with one of the, like, they call them master franchisees over there. So there were actually, this company was called Cartridge World, and it was like the largest printer, ink and toner franchise in the whole world, pretty much at that time. And remember, this is 2007, not now. So yeah, we like got a loan, and then we like bought an existing store that wasn't, doing that well. And so they just want to get out of it. So we kind of got it more like at a discount. And then, so that's how we fell into it. I mean, it's like, I didn't grow up as a little girl. I was like, you know what? I think I want to sell cartridges of all things. But I think at that point, ignorance was bliss. I don't think I could have done that now. At that time, I had no kids. I had no mortgage. It was just like, I had all the energy in the world. I worked there 7 days a week. It was, so I did that. But during that time, I kind of found my strengths. And then my husband, my boyfriend at the time, he found his kind of, so he's like a little bit more into like operations and dealing with back end. And then for me, I was like, I love talking to people. So I went and did sales. I went, oh my God, it's horrible. I went door to door and I cried. Like I would cry in between it. Oh my God, I hate doing this so much. And then I go, and then I just do door to door. But during that time, I just met so many people. I met like so many different people there. And so I got a lot of connections in all these different industries. And then, okay, then a little before we got married, finally, because we, after 4 years of working 7 days a week, we literally finally got a break for like a week, got married. So, and then when I got pregnant, my husband was like, I think you might want to like, maybe you should stay home. And I was like, yeah, I feel like crap. Like I want to stay home.
Yeah.
Because I was super pregnant. I was like morning sickness. And then I was like, I'm bored. So I couldn't, it was like, I stayed home for a little bit. I like walked every day and like, this is fine. But then remember, this is no baby yet. This is just, I'm just
Right.
pregnant and
Right.
like just stay home. And I was like, okay. I mean, he didn't say stay home, but he's like, you have the option, the business is running. Like, do you guys want to just, I was like, okay. And then I fell into, like during the whole networking, I fell into mortgage. And I said, I don't have the energy right now to go into the office every single day, go do like door-to-door sales. Like, I don't want to do that right now because I don't feel well. Like, I don't feel physically up for. So I was like, oh, I'll just go get my like real estate license and do mortgage. And anyways, like fast forward, I've been doing that for, 7 years now. I started as a loan officer. I got my license and everything. And then I became a partner in our own little company with two other partners I have. So that kind of came like very organically. But and then in between that, obviously we had Kyreen. Uh,
Right.
that was about like 3 years ago. And I'll kind of go step back a little bit. The reason why Kyrene came about is my husband and I just love working together.
Right.
We were together like 24/7, and with the mortgage thing, so my other business still going. He was doing the cartridge thing. And then we're like, no, we love working together. We're like hanging out together all the time.
That's cute. You guys are still like new.
We decided to do like an e-commerce business. I said, we can kind of do that and we can kind of still work together or whatever. But he said a backpack because he just like looked up a keyword. He goes, I think backpacks are trending now. And I was like, that's silly. Like, that seems like a lot of work. Like, where the hell am I gonna like, how am I gonna do this? I'm not a designer.
Right.
I'm actually not very, like, I'm not very into like fashion-y stuff. Like, I'm not like, oh, the latest trends. I just like very neutral, timeless, kind of versatile things.
Right.
I didn't feel like I could do it. I was like, I can't make this like really like super trendy, fashionable thing. But then I traveled with my kids everywhere because I nursed them. They didn't take the bottle. So I tried with all of them and they're like,
Oh my
no.
goodness.
So I literally would go to meetings, nurse my baby, and then like in between meetings. Um, so when I had to travel from California to Florida for a conference, I took everybody with me. And I was like, this bag sucks. Like this bag, my diaper bag didn't put my laptop in there. I was like, but I need my laptop to work. And then my laptop bag didn't have baby stuff in there, like the changing pad. So I was like, let's just like make one. Let's
Yes.
like make one that you can like travel with, that you can hang out with your babies with, and then you can work with.
I feel like I
And
have to
so
share my bag now because I
yes,
am obsessed with it. Whenever there's something that I love, I look it up and it's always designed by a woman, by someone who gets me. It's the same with the lunch boxes we use. It came with a little card saying this was a mom who couldn't find what she wanted, so she made it. And it's the same way this bag. And I also traveled with it and it's amazing. Like with or without kids, it's so well designed and you knew it had to come. It was not some men sitting there being like, I don't know, we had like a focus group, this is what they want. It's a woman saying like, no, you need more than one place to put, like you can use this for wipes, but when you're out of the wipes stage, it's like, I want 2 places to put not just a water bottle, a good size,
a big one.
Yes. Yeah. And I am in love with it and it's ruined me on any other bag or backpack. So yes, it totally I could tell it came from that place of like, I need something that works for this kind of situation. And it's incredible.
Thank you so much. Yeah. And I like I mentioned, maybe some people might be turned off by this, like, oh, it's not like she's not into like fashion or trending. And so it's like, this one was more function over anything. Like if I had to choose,
don't know. It's pretty cute.
I mean, I
It's
was
got
like,
this like gold lighting. It made me feel so fancy because I'm totally my backpack before this was the free backpack my husband got at his work conference.
work.
It was not cute and it wasn't as functional, but I was like, whatever, like utilitarian, that and like Ziploc bags. And then I got this and I just like walked straighter because I'm like, I'm fancy. So it is really pretty too, but it is
Oh, thank
extremely
you.
functional on top of being pretty.
And it should outgrow your kids, right?
Absolutely.
That's why there's no like baby elephants on it. There's no like really cutesy little baby stuff. It is meant for you to really be able to use it after baby, work and travel. So it's very, very easy to travel with. So yeah, that's kind of like, and even in between, there's like other businesses that I started, and so I was like, oh, I don't want to do that. But
Right. So that's actually really important to note that it's like, it wasn't like everything that you came up with and
oh,
started pursuing initially became a super success. Because I think we're going to be talking about those steps. So maybe this is time to get into this. So, okay. So first of all, okay. So we're going to talk about 3 steps to kind of bring people from the like, oh, I don't know, maybe I could do this. I think I want to do this. I'm not sure, to bring them from that to actually ready to go and
do
start
it.
their
Okay.
business. So we kind of talked about these beforehand. So let's go into them. Okay. So number 1, and we talked about there's a reason why this has to be first is, and you hear this everywhere, figure
Yes.
out your why. Figure out your why for starting
Yes.
your business, your top values, what you want to get out of your business, because, and the reason why this is first is because it's challenging and there has to be a meaningful reason of why you're doing it to keep going even when it's hard. So tell me kind of about that
Why?
process of figuring out like why you love having a business, like why this is worthwhile.
Okay, so the why is the most simple thing for me because I acknowledge it and I know it. It's so strong. It's I feel so happy and fulfilled as a mom and as an entrepreneur, like as working, like a working mom. I truly feel like I think there's so much like going back and forth, like, ooh, like, oh, I'm kind of sucking as a mom right now, or no, I'm sucking as a working person right now, or whatever. I mean, truly, I have thoughts about that too, about that feeling, oh, I'm not doing this or I'm not doing that. I have feelings about that. But um, I think this gives me like the flexibility to kind of be with my family when I want to. I mean, shoot, I brought them along on the plane with me because no one said I couldn't. I'm just gonna bring them with me. I bring them everywhere I go. If I want to. I can pretty much go to every single event of my kids. So it really brings me the fulfillment that I can really be there when I want to for my kids. Um, and then also for work, I can continue to grow that as well. But I'm not going to say that's easy and it's every single time that you can do that, but it is possible. So, okay, maybe right now I'm like building, maybe I'm going to be a little bit more busy, but then it's the end goal is to be able to spend more time with your family and still have your business grow. I think that's the ultimate goal. So that's my
Right.
big why is really to be with my, really, I just want to hang out with my family as much as I can. And having the idea that you can potentially work less and less and less and be with your family more and more and more and still have it grow is just like unbelievable to me. I think there's like nothing else better that you could do everything.
Yes. Yeah. I think that's a lot of people's why. And I found that true for me, that it's true once you create this, like another baby, right, of this
Yes,
business,
it
it
is.
does sometimes take on a life of its own. But on the bigger scale, you are the one who can make the decisions of, okay, this was a little more that I wanted to do. I'm going to
Mhm.
hire some help, or I'm going to redesign this. And no one can tell you no because you're in
Yes.
charge. And so this idea of being able to have fulfilling work, and it's fulfilling because you can choose. And if you're not happy with the way things are going, you can change direction. So having that control of both what you're doing and why and who you're helping, like that's awesome. And I think once you have that, it's really hard to go back. And I think that's why there are a lot of serial entrepreneurs, because once you've gotten a taste of that, it's really hard to go back to answering to someone else. I think that's kind of,
And to me, I think it's the most fair thing. It's very fair. I mean, over time, like it's a very fair, if you're really good at something, you'll reap the rewards. If you're not good at something, or you don't put in the work, I don't want to say like, okay, somebody didn't do well, then they're not great. Because I've had businesses that I kind of stopped. I was like, whoa, that's not for me. But if you think about it, if a business overcharges people, right, and they're not getting the value, like you sell something and or offer something and it's not what they believe it's the value is there, that company, no matter how great the marketing, whatever, is gonna not do very well, right? Over time. If you undercharge over time, it will collapse because you can't pay for people, you can't grow, whatever. So I think in a way, I just think it's the most fair thing. And that's not to say that every single business idea works though. It just means like as an entrepreneur, it's like the most fair thing because it's not like someone is telling you, like how you're working and then
right.
we'll reap the rewards
Right.
eventually. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know if you've read, and I can't remember which Malcolm Gladwell book is. He talks about the recipe for job satisfaction. And one of the things is reward matching effort. And I think that's why owning your business
Yes.
is so fulfilling because you see, oh, I'm doing a good job. And I see that really in my photography business. I see that really directly. I ask people for permission to social media, and if they give me permission after I do their session, I'll post it, and then their friends will book sessions, and it's like this really immediate feedback of
Yes.
you did a good job, and it's
Yes.
so exciting. But you're right, like it's not, you can't fake it, but that's
Mhm.
what makes it great, is that when you're succeeding, it feels amazing. And so okay, so let's talk about the next thing. Once you figured out your why, and literally I have my why written on a piece of paper sitting there, which is for my Money Fit moms, it's to help people achieve financial freedom. And so whenever I get frustrated, I'm like, no, like I'm doing this for a reason. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not everyone liked my post on social media, but that's not what I'm doing. I'm not doing it to get social media likes. I'm doing it because I want to help people.
Yes.
And then below that why, I have the what I do when I just want to crawl in a hole. It's to focus on the individual. And I think everyone needs to have those little emergency plans of
Yes.
to remind themselves why they're doing it and what to do when they feel like they're not succeeding, to figure out, okay, what am I doing this? How do I need to change to get back to my why? Maybe I've gotten away from it a little bit and refocus. Okay, so the next thing is to know that you can do it and to give
Yeah.
yourself the time to succeed. So why don't
Yes.
you speak to that?
I think it sounds so obvious. Probably people hear it over and over again. Oh, you got to believe in yourself. Like, duh. But it's actually, I don't think it's as like, okay, if anyone kind of thought about it, but just didn't do it, I usually think this is really the biggest reason. It's not really like, oh, I can't because I'm lacking this, this, and this. It's really like they don't deep down, subconsciously in their minds believe truly that they can do it. Um, and so I think the way that I kind of got over this is really to just like immerse myself with kind of what I want. So if I want to open a business or whatever, like if that's your goal, I was literally listening to all the podcasts of moms that I can get my hands on. At one point, I literally was like, like before all this stuff happened, COVID and stuff. What I was commuting a whole like couple hours a day to like drop off my kids and all that stuff. And everywhere I went, I was just listening to how moms were doing it, just like kicking butt. And I think it's actually specific to moms. I don't I used to, before as a mom, I used to kind of like just listen to anybody and immerse myself, like just really think about entrepreneurship. But I think being a mom is just different because you are literally having this like other 24/7 most important thing in your life, kind of family going on. And then you're trying to add in like how to be, how to start a business. I mean, there's one when I saw that there's a single mom of four who literally like went from nothing to like really totally sustain yourself, like doing really well. I was like, if she could do it, then I can do it. You know, it was kind of like that. And I've been an entrepreneur for a long time, but it's not, it has so many ups and downs. And that's why when you said you have to know, you kind of why you have to remind yourself, and you'll always hit a plateau. You'll kind of like, what got you here won't get you there kind of thing. You'll be like doing the same thing. You're like, wow, so great. And then you'll hit something, you're like, why am I not growing? Or like, or if you don't evolve. So then I feel like there's like seasons there where I will like literally immerse myself into what I want to become, or like what I want to do my next step. So I think yeah, like you really truly have to believe yourself. I mean, you don't know, if you don't believe in yourself yet, like really spend some time to think, like meditate on that one and say, okay, why not? Why can't I do this? And then figure out how to like get over that. And for me, like I said, I just kind of like really like seeked out other moms who were just doing it. And then kind of just being like obsessed, like literally like obsessed,
Yes.
going for it.
And I think that's why it's important to pick something that's meaningful for you, because it has to be something that you are interested in. You're excited to find those solutions to people's problems. And so, I mean, you have to think, what am I willing to listen to podcasts about all day? Because I just love
Yeah.
it. And that's how I got into finance, because I could listen to 4 hours of Dave Ramsey a day and love it and just be
Me
so
too.
excited. And not everyone wants to, or, you know, or if I came across a tax problem, I found myself like when this economic stimulus package came through and I was reading some news articles about, and I'm like, this really is not narrowing it down. And I built my own calculator and I actually went and read the regulation language. Not everyone's going to do that. And that's how I
Yeah, that
realized,
sounds
okay,
horrible. Like that
if
sounds
there's something,
horrible.
right, if there's something that you love, that's like, you look around, not everyone's into that. And you
Yes.
think, okay, if not everyone's into this, then there's not a market for that. There's not. And the fact is, no, okay, that's what makes you special. And that's what's amazing about the internet, is you can find your people to say, okay, who is this for? And how do I find more of them? And how do I solve their problems? But it's so true that it's so hard to realize that you're worth it. I like, this is so nerdy. And I've like, I picked this up at the store and it says, you are powerful, beautiful, brilliant, and brave, as like kind of like a little mantra to sit on my desk, because it's so
Yeah.
hard when you're putting yourself out there. And I think people will say nice things to me and I feel all the nice things about you, but it's so hard to internalize those things about ourselves. I don't
Yeah.
know. Maybe it's just me and my
No,
insecurities.
100%. 100%.
Right. And yeah, and it takes kind of pumping yourself up a little bit to realize like, okay, like there are things that I have that are unique and maybe it's not where I want it to be. So, and that doesn't mean that you can't do it. It means, oh, okay, like this is where I want to learn. And so, um, for you, like you started listening to podcasts, I did too. I signed up for some training courses to build my confidence on, I did a financial education coaching course and just all these different things. And so actually, this is a Dave Ramsey thing. He said, if you read, I can't remember, something like 12 books on a subject, you're going to know more than 99% of the world, which sounds insane, but it's true because not everyone has time to specialize in everything. So just realize if you have the interest enough to go out there and read the books and listen to the podcasts, like you're there. You know what I mean? In terms of being
Yes.
able to start going to the next step of turning it into a business.
I think
And
it's
then I loved, sorry, go ahead.
no, like what you're talking about, like reading all that, and I think it's investing in yourself, you'll get the highest ROI over anything, right? When you invest in yourself.
Absolutely. And I think that's another point that I wanted to hit is having the confidence to invest in yourself, because I think a lot of people say, oh, I want to do this, and they get excited, but they're a mom, they're busy, and so they don't spend the time doing it. They don't invest in themselves. They don't arrange some sort of childcare, whether it's cutting something else out of their budget to make room for childcare, or going to their partner and saying, okay, I need time to work on this. When can you manage the kids? And I get to go in my office and spend some
Mhm.
focused time doing that. Like they think it's like a hobby, like, oh, I can spend 2 hours on it when I feel like it and it will become successful. And so I think that was the difference for me, was when I started saying, okay, like I need time. I need time consistently every
Mhm.
week to advance this. And then all of a sudden it was hard work, but things started moving along. But it takes that confidence to say, no, like I need time, I deserve time, and I'm going to
Yeah.
do what it takes to find that time, even though it's challenging. And then I think first, I just have to speak to this because I was like this. Um, that guilt that I'm spending less time with my kids if I'm spending time, let that go. Because
Yeah.
when I came out of that room, I was like super mom. I was excited to see my kids because I was fulfilled. And I think before I was just, a little bit, I think, shut down because I wasn't as excited about life. And so I think overall quality time improves when you're excited about what you're doing. Would you say that's been true for you?
100%. I think that's why, yeah, and I used to kind of be apologetic about this. I used to, oh, like maybe I shouldn't be talking about this because it's kind of obnoxious. But I literally am so happy all the time. I feel like I won the lotto every single morning because I just feel so fulfilled in both sides. And for a while, a friend of mine was like, you don't need to feel apologetic about it. That's just how you feel. And she says, I feel it. And like always feel really like, there's no coffee. Like I didn't even drink coffee. I drink water. This like warm lemon water this morning. Um, I just feel so fulfilled doing this. And I think the mom guilt thing is when you know why you're doing it, it really reminds you like it's okay because of course, who wants to work like 100 hours every single week forever indefinitely? Of course not. You know what? There's some times when I do have to work like that, and then later I get, a couple weeks that's not so much, right? Um, I might be working really, really hard to get systems and the people in place so that I can all offset and let that go. But it's okay to do that. It's okay to work like a lot harder, certain times because you're working towards being able to spend a lot more time with your family. So the one thing I ask myself every single day is, am I doing something to get closer? So for me, it's, am I training somebody or am I offloading like even one small thing a day so that eventually I'm not the person who's going to be doing it? I mean, that's a little bit different. Like if I were to just start again, if I were to start all over again, ideally, very luckily, if someone has like a partner that is supportive, that's the best. Hey, honey, like, can you please give me some like 2 hours of quiet time? That's ideal. And maybe, okay, if you can't have that, you might have to like sacrifice a little bit of sleep, either when the kids are asleep or when they wake up. That's different if you have a newborn. Okay, I'm talking about when you don't have a newborn
Right.
or moms with newborns don't get to sleep.
Yes.
Like so that's like if there's any new like moms of newborns, like don't even just you're doing everything. But
Yes.
um, that's like ideal, right? You have your partner help you, or then you can, or if that can't happen, or like family. But then, or you'd kind of try to make friends with some really supportive, like-minded moms, and you say, hey, like, can we have like a little play date, or can we like trade off? Like, you help me watch, like, even if we're in the same house in another room, like, hey, can you like just give me like a couple hours, and I'll give you a couple hours or whatever. And then of course, if you can hire somebody, if it's even for a few hours, like having somebody help you watch your kids while you're like in like focused room and like working. But one thing to do is try not to make, I mean, not try, don't make any excuses of why you can't do something. If you really want a heart bad enough, I know some are more fortunate than others. Some have, like when I saw the mom, she says, I got a divorce. I have 4 kids. I didn't work. And now all of a sudden, and she goes, I worked on my business after my kids fell asleep, or I listened to podcasts while I was driving them everywhere. Like she was literally obsessed and she made it happen. So, once you have like the why and the belief, and then really it's like, stop, don't let yourself be the reason why you don't move forward. Like, oh, I
Yes.
can't because I had a girlfriend's like, well, you know, I can't do it because of this. I said, well, if you keep on thinking that, that is what's going to happen because you don't try, right? So yeah, I just think it's important that kind of like get out of our own mental blocks.
Yes.
Like, don't let that be a reason to stop you.
Right. And I think this is another thing is to find your people, because
Yes.
if you just try to do it on your own and live in your own head, it's going to be really easy to get discouraged because we're great at
Mhm.
being our own worst enemy. And so I think that was a big thing, meeting someone like you. And I can't remember if I told you this after we first met. You just radiate this excitement and this gravitational pull, and it's not just for what you're doing. I think that's we connected because you saw I was encouraging people. And when I met you, and I was just in awe because what we met under the circumstances of I knew you did the mortgage thing. I had no idea about the backpack. And then when you told me
Yeah.
about it, you're like, do you want to create something? Because I can help you like skip all these, you know what I mean? And I was like, I left wishing I did have something to create because you were just so excited about it and willing to help. And I think people are drawn to that. And so I went on and told my husband, because the reason why you felt comfortable reaching out to me is because I'd kind of put myself out there and you'd seen kind of what I
Yes.
did. And I told my husband it was all worth it. If nothing else happens from this other than I find these other people and I get to connect with them and spend time with them, it was all worth it because it was such a good day. And that's how you find your people. You have to put yourself out a little bit. And so every connection I make, it's so exciting and it just pushes me forward. Whereas those before I kind of put myself out there and it was just me at my computer feeling sad and disappointed with my work, like that didn't bring me very far. And as soon as I forced myself to, you know, because I kind of hate social media, but I knew that that's where a lot of the interaction with actually helping people was going to come. And so once I started putting myself out there, I started getting these like feedback loops and connecting with people. And so, yeah, put yourself out there, find your people, and find the people who are going to encourage you and push you further, I think
Mhm.
is a big thing. And then the last thing that I wanted to talk about, and it's such an important one, is to try a lot of things, figure out what works, and be prepared to change what you're doing. You know, pivot is, I think, a huge thing. So tell me about your experience with trying things and how you kind of figure out what's working and when you decide to abandon something. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Like, at what point do you say, okay, this is just hard, this is just a stopping place? Or when do you say, okay, I think this is on a fundamental level not working versus, do you know what I mean? Because I know your mortgage business is really successful. You know, how do you figure that out? And just also just speaking to having the courage and knowing that it's okay when things aren't working and it's okay to just move on to the next. Or
okay. I'll tell you the two that have I done other ones? I might have done other ones, but like I'll say the two that kind of stand out to me that I was like, whoa, I'm not going to do this anymore. One, I'm not a vegan and I started a vegan bakery business.
I forgot about that.
And okay, so the backstory is I knew this baker. I mean, she was baking vegan desserts to like celebrities in LA. Like literally, she had the first vegan bakery. Um, and then I was like, oh, I just contacted her. I was like, hey, like, can I get all your recipes and then just like sell them? And she was like, okay. But anyways, I kind of did it and I was like, oh my gosh, this is like so much work. I mean, it was brutal. Like the work was like brutal. And I just kept on thinking like, okay, maybe this part of it was a feeling. There's going to be money. Like, does this financially make sense? Like, could I make the amount of money or can I see myself making the amount of money I want or need or whatever? And then part is like feeling like, do I want to wake up like at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning and like bake and do all this stuff? So after a few months of that, I was like, I just cut my losses. I was like, you know what? Move on to the next. There's opportunity cost when I spend all my time doing this. Because at that time, the cartridge business was like running. So I didn't have to be in it anymore. The other one was actually right before Kyreen is we were thinking about doing e-commerce. And so I think that what was really popular was like, you can flip all these products on Amazon. So you just like white label, you get some stuff and you sell it. It seems so that people make it sound so easy. And we did have like a couple like one hit wonders because we kind of caught the trend. We're like, oh, we get how to do this. And so we did pretty well right off the gate. Like even Amazon said, like, you guys have a hot product. And we're like, cool. But what didn't feel right is like, I didn't really know what other value I was giving or like what made me special. I was literally just buying stuff and selling it there. So we kind of stopped that pretty quickly. We're like, this doesn't, first of all, the competitors come and like eat you alive. It's very like cash intensive, like to kind of have
Mhm.
to pay and to finance everything. So that didn't really work out. And we just kind of was like, okay to cut it. We're like, you know what, just sell out everything and just stop doing this. Um, but I think the reason why I love Kyrene is because there's more, it's more than a backpack. It's like this love I have, that this passion that literally moms, you can do whatever you want. Like you can do it all. You can't do it all by yourself, but you could do it all. Like whatever you want to do, you could do it. Um, so pretty much like, yeah, like for me, I give myself a time frame. I'm like, okay, I'll give myself a couple years, like really going at something, maybe shorter if I feel like, if I don't like it, I'll just kind of cut
Right.
it off. But if I really love something and I'm like, okay, I give in my mind, I say, okay, I'm willing to invest X amount of money, whatever it is. Um, it either hits that, like, I mean, we burn all this money and we haven't even gone close, then we just shut it down. Um, or there's really no like number that's like good for everybody, right? It's like
Right.
what you kind of like have budgeted um
No. That's
to
so
do
funny.
it.
Yeah, that's so funny because I hadn't thought about that in a concrete way, but that's literally exactly what I did. I picked a dollar amount that I was willing to invest
Yes.
in. So for me, it was like Money Fit Moms. I'm going to invest this and I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to give it this much time and
Mhm.
I'm going to put work into it. I'm not just going to let it sit on the
Yes.
back burner for two
Oh yeah.
years and call that. I said, I'm going to try to create this many blog posts
Hmm.
and this amount. I'm going to put this many years of effort into it. And if I'm not feeling it after that amount of time, or I've just burned through all the money and it can't even sustain itself, let alone make money, then here I am. You know, like that was, it was still a worthwhile venture because I told my husband, because he doesn't care. He's supportive of everything I do. Uh, but for me, it had to make sense financially. And so I told him if I had gone to school, I would have paid all this money and I would have
Yeah.
left with skills. And that's what I'm doing now. But instead of going to school, I'm learning in the trenches. And so even whether or not Money Fit Moms continues, which it already actually this month alone will cover its costs. And I've already, my bank balance has gone beyond what I initially invested. Uh, but also the skills that I've learned are crazy. I
Mhm.
can get in a room and talk to anyone about just all these different things that I had to learn in the process. And it's like I had done a really intensive program. And so
Yep.
even if, like you said, like you ended up kind of packing up and calling it a day, um, then you still left with all these skills and probably things that you learned from that business that I don't know if you'd say failed, but you decided to not continue.
Learning opportunities. They're like
Right.
literally learning opportunities. I've learned from both of them, or many. I like there's other little ones that I've like tried, but the thing is, if as a mom, you would almost want to try to figure out what is your special sauce. Like you know how you say you like finance, like that's like ugh.
You're making a
Um,
face for someone who's a mortgage expert.
I know, but it's a little different. It's like I know it's funny. I was like, oh my gosh, everybody has that thing.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I got a girlfriend who's like super duper organized. When she looks at something, she's like, duh, Katie, like, why would you put there? You put here, you're not using the space. I'm like, I don't know, like my brain is way. And there's people who like have like a really nice handwriting, and there's people who have sloppy handwriting, but they're really good at, you know, talking or whatever. Like everybody has their thing. And we tell this to our kids. Hey, like you have your special gift, right? And it's so clear. Then when it comes to us, we're like, we're not really good at anything. So all of us have our unique special gift. I'm okay to say, like, I'm really sucky at these things. You know, okay with that. I don't think any less of myself. I'm just better at these things. So figure out what that is. But whatever you do, you want to see how, like, what value you can actually bring, like, how actually different. You don't always have to be better in a sense, like, oh, you are better than this person, but something different, you know, better if you can be, right? Like, can you be better or different in a certain way. And as a mom, try to do something that is not as time sensitive. What I mean is, like, let me give you an example. Like, if you have a job that is very, like, you have to be at a certain time, no matter what, and if you don't do it at that time, you're not able to do it. That's a little bit harder in terms of like flexibility of your time with your family. But let's say you do, you're like an amazing content creator, or you're an amazing marketing strategist, or you're like killer at sales. Really try to focus and hone on a skill that you have that is not very like, if you don't do it by this time, then you don't have a business or a job, you know. Because I think if you're starting out from the beginning, don't think about having like a team of 10 people doing everything for you. You're doing everything yourself. And then you can start hiring more and more people. But like, you know, really hone in on your skill set, that your special thing, what you're really good at, and the world needs it. And you just gotta like you said, put yourself there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And so find your thing, figure out how much am I willing to invest in this in terms of time and money, and then just start doing. Because I think that's when I started to succeed, is when I stopped planning and started doing, because you're not going to figure out what needs to change until you actually start doing it. So don't necessarily spend too much time on the master plan of how many people you're going to hire and how that's going to work, and just start doing it yourself. And then I think it'll naturally grow as you figure out, oh, okay, I can actually hire this part out. And anyway, I just think I'm so excited about all these things. I'm excited to talk to you, because I think you're the perfect person to talk to, because you have done all these things. And I think it speaks to people who just wonder, can I do it? Because not only can you say, yes, you can, because you've done it more than once. And also you're not afraid to say, and it's not the only things I tried. I also tried all these other things that didn't work out. And that's not the point, to create one super successful thing that works perfectly on its first original plan. I don't think any successful company started that way. Right. And so, yeah, I'm just so glad to talk to you. And then I want to end by talking just real fast about the bag, because I know that you have a coupon code also, but I just want to encourage anyone who has anything. I was telling you before we started recording that even now working at home, I use this because we have 2 floors, and I'm a photographer. So I'm always carrying like my charger, my external hard drive, my water, coffee, whatever. And I literally like put it in the bag to carry it down, because I was like trying to juggle it. Like, what is the point? So whether you're traveling or not, but once you travel, it's amazing. Like, I traveled without my kids, and it's your carry-on, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it has everything, because it has like the padded laptop. It's the bag. So we have a coupon code for 20% off everything, which is MoneyFit20, and I'll put that in the description. But also you have other products. I have them in the next room, the TSA clear bags.
The clear bags, because I
are amazing.
Everything in there. Yeah.
Yes. And you have a lunchbox, which I don't have yet because I haven't left the house. But as soon as I do, I'm getting my lunch bag. So anyway, I wanted to thank you so much, Katy. I'm so lucky to have you, so lucky to have met you. I think anyone who spends any time with you just gravitate towards you, because your energy, your love, your excitement, and you're just a pleasure to spend time with. So thank you so much, Katy. I'm looking forward to the next business you create, which you're like, no, I'm done, but you can't help yourself. You're addicted. So
thank you, Lisa. Thank you so much.
So good to see you, and we'll be in touch. So you can find Katy's bags that she created at KyreenCo.com. And once again, the coupon code is below. I hope you got a lot out of this interview. If you want any help figuring out what you're doing, I also started some career coaching in addition to the financial coaching. So reach out to me. You can find me on Instagram at MoneyFitMoms.